I couldn't resist, you know. I'm still out here. It's really nice, you know. We got these airplanes flying over. A FedEx plane is flying right over right now, and then behind me we've got that water. It just feels like a great place to just play, you know. And I am a professional bass player, but you know, it's been a while since I played, so I hesitate to do a live stream for you guys. But maybe I could play a thing or two, you know, with this kind of environment, you know, maybe just jam around a little bit. You know, hopefully Mr. Carter doesn't chastise me too much, you know, but he's been doing some live streams, so I think we should start like a new viral trend. It should be the outdoor bass competition. All my bass friends, we should do it. All my bass friends around the world, try to find someplace cool and do a live stream. That could be a cool way to do things on social media, because you know, I got all my friends inspiring me, you know. Dominic Duval, he's always posting his reels, you know. So, you know, if there was a jazz friend, I'm not gonna say his name, but he was like complaining about reels. I think reels are cool because that's the way that we can, you know, play little licks and things that'll inspire the future generations. I think I'm gonna have to come here more often, you know, to play with my bass. You know, it is a little trek to schlep it down here. I don't have my wheel with me, so. But somehow the water also like kind of amplifies it. So I don't know. I suppose I could show a couple of players some stuff I learned from Mr. Carter. I don't think he would be opposed to me showing you some things. Now, if you're a young bass player, you know, you should take a cork and then have your two fingers like this and start learning how to use your fingers like this. That's the best way for sound production. But you know, Mr. Carter had us working on like, Mr. Jonathan, don't play stun. Don't play stun, you know. Some people play really loud on the bass, loud like that. But you want to be able to do like, you know, and obviously watch the hand. This hand should be up, you know. I even make that mistake sometimes, but that's the way it should be. And you need to have your height set a certain way in order to be productive as a bass player. You know, what I worked on with Ron Carter was the France Simando method. That's all we worked on. We worked on that with the metronome. We worked on like sound tone and sound production. But, you know, if you really want to be true to yourself, I'm definitely doing it at the gym, staying consistent. But if you want to be true to yourself as a musician, you need to practice. Unfortunately, I don't practice all the time, but maybe there'll be more time for that, But my favorites are to play our blues. I don't always like to play up here because of the intonation. I like to play down here. I mean, these are the money notes down here anyways. But you probably could just play a blues staying down here. And that's another thing Mr. Carter has. He has the bass diagrams. He's got a whole book of diagrams, and you can kind of draw them out, and you can make your own bass lines and stick in this position. But we're talking about like some of my favorites of upright bass that I'm not anywhere near to. You'd probably be like Niels Henning Orster Peterson or Mark Johnson. Some of those guys are on the next level, and they come from guys like Chuck Israels or Scott LaFaro or Eddie Gomez. We're talking about some true masters of the bass. Forget about what anybody says on the news. Everybody's always talking about who's the big shot bass player or whatever. No, I'm telling you, the legends of the bass are the true innovators. Some of those names that I just mentioned. And let's not forget, Dave Holland is another one of them. But some of my teachers, people I was fortunate enough to study with, I started out with a guy named Pete Trigo. He's a local guy in Chatham, New York. Then I moved on to a guy, Mike Wicks. I moved on to some other bass guys, but I went to Litchfield Jazz Camp, worked with John Benitez over there, and Mario Pavone, and Dave Santuro. Those are some great guys. And then, when I was fortunate enough to go to William Patterson, I studied with some real masters, Marcus McLaurin and Steve Laspina. In fact, those guys are still over there, and they're still rocking hard, So, if you are a young player, there's a lot of things you can do and ways to study to get to the next level. I appreciate the music, and maybe one day I'll rededicate myself to that extreme to get to that next level, because any person had to put in that work. But you can still appreciate the music and still understand what is the top and the limit. And if you can do that, you can play music and still have a good time. But if you're a youngster, and I think every one of us has been at this point, you can also be an arrogant idiot who thinks that they know everything. And there's that too. So you got to be careful of that. Because the older you get, the more you realize, who are the masters, who are the true. And I'm a disciple of Ron Carter. That was my teacher. If you listen to music, most of the great jazz records out there is Ron Carter on bass. So you can't deny that guy. You can't deny him, whether you are Asian, black, white, Indian, whatever. You can't deny that Ron Carter is one of the founding fathers, along with his predecessor, Paul Chambers. Both of them went to Cass Tech. So I hope I didn't talk too long, but I hope you guys can enjoy this background, And thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.